Imagine this. What if I told you that making better decisions doesn't require huge changes or a lot of effort? You can actually make smarter choices every single day with just a little nudge. Sounds like magic? Well, it's not, it's science. Stick around because today, we're talking about how small changes, small tweaks can create big results. And I'm going to give you real, actionable tips that you can start using right now. Ready? Let's dive in. Make sure to watch the video from start to finish for the full experience. Or if you're short on time, feel free to jump to the chapter that interests you using the timestamps in the description below. So, have you ever found yourself walking into a grocery store and, without even thinking, you grab a fresh apple? But why? Well, it's not because you're a saint who eats perfectly all the time, though that would be nice. It's because that apple was at eye level, and the candy you were eyeing was placed way at the bottom of the shelf. That's what we call a nudge. A little nudge in your environment that helps you make a better decision, sometimes without you even realizing it. This concept comes from the book Nudge by Richard Thaler and Cass Sunstein, where they explain how small changes to the environment can dramatically influence the choices we make. The beauty of it is that nudges don't force you to do anything. They just make it easier to make a better decision. It's all about choice architecture, the way in which decisions are structured around us. 1. The power of nudging. Let's dive into the power of nudging. Thaler and Sunstein explain that nudging isn't about making people do things against their will. It's about guiding people toward better choices, often by simply changing how choices are presented. For example, think about organ donation. In countries where the default option is to be an organ donor, you're automatically enrolled unless you opt out. The donation rates are incredibly high. You aren't forced to donate, but the default makes it easier to say yes. Now, I've experienced this personally, especially in financial decisions. A few years ago, I had to choose between two retirement savings plans. One was the default, meaning if I did nothing, I would automatically be enrolled in it. The other one required me to actively choose a different plan. Guess which one I went with? Yup, the default one! Why? Because it was the easiest option. And let me tell you, looking back, I'm so glad I didn't have to spend extra time figuring out how to get enrolled in the other plan. Actionable tip. So how can you use this in your life? Let's say you want to save more money. Set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings account. The default choice is to save, and before you know it, you'll have a growing nest egg. The same goes for eating healthier. If you want to make better choices, start by making healthier options more accessible, whether it's packing your lunch the night before or making sure fruits and veggies are at the front of the fridge. If you're feeling inspired and you're already thinking of ways to nudge yourself, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a nudge in the comments if this is starting to make sense to you. 2. Biases and behavioral insights. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Biases. We all have them, and they often lead us to make choices that aren't necessarily in our best interest. Thaler and Sunstein dive deep into the fact that we aren't the perfectly rational beings we like to think we are. In fact, we make decisions based on gut feelings, emotions, and, more often than not, what's easiest. One common bias is the status quo bias, the tendency to stick with what we know because it feels comfortable. It's like when you go to a coffee shop, and even though there are 100 drinks on the menu, you still order the same thing you always get. Or how about this? When you're in a store and you find yourself reaching for the same snack or brand without even thinking about it. That's status quo bias at work. I know I've fallen victim to this, especially when it comes to habits. A few years ago, I realized I had developed this routine of checking my email as soon as I woke up. But here's the thing. Email wasn't always the most important thing I needed to do, yet it was what I reached for first every day. I didn't realize how much this habit was affecting my productivity. So I made a change. I moved my email app out of my immediate view on my phone and replaced it with my to-do list. The result? I stopped checking my email first thing and started the day by focusing on my most important tasks. Small tweak, big difference. Actionable tip. So what's your own status quo bias? What do you do automatically because it's easy or familiar? Next time you're setting a morning routine or even choosing snacks, be mindful. Try replacing your default with something that aligns better with your goals. Put your healthier snacks front and center, or start your morning with something that sets a positive tone for the day, like reading a book or tackling your hardest task. 3. Choice architecture. Now let's talk about choice architecture. It's the idea that how choices are structured can significantly impact the decisions people make. You see this everywhere, in the way supermarkets are laid out, in the way websites are designed, and even in the way offices are set up. It's all about presentation and what's easy to access. Take a moment to think about it. Ever notice how grocery stores make it super convenient to grab that pack of gum right by the checkout line? Or how restaurants often make their specials sound irresistible, even if they weren't on the menu initially? That's all choice architecture at play. I remember a few months ago I started meal prepping for the week to avoid unhealthy food choices. I began by moving my healthier options into the most visible spots. For example, I put my prepared salads and fruit bowls at eye level in the fridge. It made all the difference. When I felt snacky, it was easy to grab something healthy because it was right there. On the flip side, I moved junk food to the back of the pantry. Guess what happened? I started eating healthier without even thinking about it. Actionable tip. You can use this strategy in your own life too. Want to make healthier choices? Put your fruits and veggies at the front of your fridge or pantry so they're the first thing you see when you open the door. Want to be more productive? Organize your workspace so that the tools you need to focus are the easiest to grab. The idea is to make the right choice the easiest choice. 4. Incentives matter. All right, here's where it gets really fun. Incentives. We all love a good reward, right? Well, Thaler and Sunstein talk a lot about how rewards can be powerful nudges. Small rewards, like getting a free coffee or earning points, can help us stay on track and make better decisions without feeling pressured. I've definitely used incentives to my advantage. A while ago, I started using a fitness app that gave me points every time I worked out. These points could be redeemed for small rewards like gift cards or discounts. At first, it felt a bit like a game, but over time I found myself working out more regularly just to earn those points. It wasn't about the points, really. It was about the consistency that the incentives encouraged. Actionable tip. Think about how you can apply incentives to your own goals. Whether you're trying to save money, lose weight, or even be more productive, small rewards can keep you motivated. Set up a system for yourself. Every time you hit a goal, treat yourself to something small. A coffee, a nice meal, or something you've been wanting to buy. It doesn't have to be a huge reward, but it should feel like an achievement. 5. Transparency and autonomy. Here's something that's super important. Transparency and autonomy. Thaler and Sunstein emphasize that for nudging to be effective, it must be done in a transparent way. People should always understand why they're making a decision, and there should never be any hidden tricks. I had a bad experience with a company once that didn't follow this principle. I was automatically enrolled in a subscription service I didn't want, and when I tried to cancel, it was almost impossible. The lack of transparency made me feel like I was being tricked. That's definitely not a good nudge. Actionable tip. If you're nudging yourself or if you're nudging others, always make sure the reasoning is clear. Be transparent about the benefits of the decision and ensure everyone has the autonomy to make the final choice. Whether you're helping someone make healthier choices or improving their finances, transparency builds trust. 6. Applying nudging in real life. So, how do you actually apply nudging to your everyday life? This is where the magic happens. Nudging doesn't require huge lifestyle changes. It's about making small shifts that add up over time. It can be applied to everything from saving money to eating better, to even improving your relationships. For example, I set up a small nudge in my own life a while ago to help me read more books. I simply placed a book on my pillow every night, right where I could see it before going to bed. The result? I started reading more, not because I forced myself, but because it was there, making the choice easy. Actionable tip. Look at different areas of your life where you want to improve, whether it's getting more exercise, managing your time better, or sticking with a budget. Start by setting up nudges, small strategic changes in your environment that make the better choice the easier one. It could be as simple as setting a reminder on your phone or reorganizing your living space. Conclusion. And there you have it. Nudging is all about making small, thoughtful changes that encourage us to make better decisions, without forcing us to do anything we don't want to do. It's about making good choices easy and natural. If you want more awesome book summaries and life-changing tips, check out my book summary playlist. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a nudge in the comments below. I'd love to know how you plan to use nudging in your life. Catch you in the next video.